and it just pushed it back. Oh, I caught it in my mouth. How many of y'all have ever caught a fishing reel spring in the teeth? That's going on YouTube. No shit, Sherlock. Gentlemen, ladies, and anyone in between, I welcome you all, and today we'll be getting up close and personal with what is far and away the sweetest Shimano Star Drag jigging reel ever to come stateside. It's their Ocea Jigger in the 1500 size. It is a rock-solid, Rolex precise, compact jigging reel that runs on a fairly powerful 14-15 pound max drag, buttery smooth carbon fiber drag stack. Comes equipped with a spool lock, so if you get hung up on bottom, you don't want to wear it thumbing or bashing up your pinion and your main gear trying to pull out a snag with the drag pushed down all the way, engage the spool lock. It will not pay any line, and I'll show you how that feature works once we get inside. It has an interesting feature that's not found on all Star Drag or all jigging reels, an automatically engaging clutch, and that clicking you're hearing is the spool lock. You're not going to be engaging that full time, and you can see it's quiet. Now in the intro you heard me clip the microphone and retrieve some line under load. It was about a 4-pound load, and all you heard was the line. You heard nothing involving the gear train at all whatsoever, and this is what it sounds like with no resistance at all. Trying to clear my microphone cable out the way. There we go. That should do it. Let's do it backwards. The only thing you're hearing is a little bit of slop on the spool. I'll give it a little spool tension. That'll get rid of it. I mean, I've handled a lot of conventional reels, and in terms of its precision under load and just cranking the handle on a table, this might be one of the best ever made. I know they have some pretty fancy reels overseas. This one's found its way over here. It's been a while, or I should say it's been the first time that we've had an Ocea Jigger offered over here. And the last one I had was gold, and it was on a Blue Rose jigging rod, so that tells you how long ago that was. That was when the Blue Rose was new, and the reel is way under gun for some of the tuna we're chasing, so it's nice to hear that they're going to be coming out with a larger size, or the rumors that I've heard. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and get inside this beautiful piece of machinery. And this handle, guys, the handle on this is one of the most comfortable. I've kind of been up in the air in terms of how I truly feel about the Shimano egg knobs, but this T-bar here, or this offset handle, it's perfect. Like, it really feels great. It contours my middle finger and my ring finger perfectly. I can kind of lean it up like this if I have to. That way you can kind of change your arm angle when you get fatigued, which is more important than you may realize. And if you look here, see, that's kind of sticky. This reel's been rode hard and put away wet. So we gotta take a look at those ball bearings. And it's an adjustable handle, which you don't see on every reel out there. I mean, it's nice to see on a Shimano reel. Some other brands offer it, but not all. This reel is very simple to get inside, or at least it's very simple to get the handle side plate off. But if you guys are fans of some of the older Abu reels, like a Mora maybe, you'll see a familiar plate once we get this off. I guess you can kind of look at some of the current C3s and Emotos and Akios reels. They have that backside plate that's still attached when you take the handle side plate off. And if you saw in that Saltist versus Saltist BG Daiwa video, I was kind of surprised to see that it was made out of plastic, that back plate. Whereas I believe on the Saltiga, it's metal. And this one, I assure you, is metal. Before we get to that, let me kind of lean that there. Let's take a look at the spool. And this is a spool lock mechanism. Okay? See these dogs on this plate here? This plate is keyed to the spool shaft. It'll never turn. You can see a retaining clip is keeping it in place from pushing outward or falling off. And you can see, I'm going to go ahead and engage with the locking mechanism. And that's all it takes. Let's see if it'll... See? No anti-reverse clutch involved at all whatsoever. And this little feature, which has come around more and more recently and more frequently in some modern jigging reels or bottom fishing reels, which you can definitely do with, this would be like one of the ultimate Tog reels. This will extend the like new performance simply because you're not putting that added stress on the drivetrain when you're pulling out snags, which is bound to happen if you're bottom fishing. Go ahead, disengage that. Aluminum side plate, all one piece. And you can also see here, see how there's a little bit difference in size? A little more compact on this side for palming purposes. Nice little feature. Let me get this out of the way. All right, now as we move along, let's take a look finally at the handle side plate. All machined aluminum, the Japanesium stuff. And if you look here, this little plastic plate here, that's interesting. That's almost like what you find in the Tranks, only it doesn't have that hydrophobic coating, and it does kind of nest on that spool, which all in all is interesting. I wish they would have incorporated that, maybe in the newer versions down the road, maybe, I don't know. But there is a little bit of a labyrinth created when the spool bearing nests in that recession there. We're having too much fun. Guys, this is a beautiful reel. It really is. And if I remove this, we're not going to really see much. This might be really the only plastic in here besides what's making up the click plate of the drag star and the handle now. A lot of the nice aluminum stuff in here. You can see that's the only plastic bit there. And because it has a plate similar to the Abus and a yoke or a kick plate similar to an Abu, once we remove or loosen this screw up, it's going to give me a little bit of spring tension. And this is kind of a crucial part right here. Just clear these screws to give you guys as clear a picture as possible. You want to be extraordinarily careful when you separate these, because if you separate it by pushing it up, you're going to drop everything inside the frame. What you want to do is you want to lower it like so, and as you bring it up, look for that spring, which is the return for the kick plate or the yoke, and just make sure you get your finger on top of it, because you never want to lose a spring the second you take the reel apart. You know what I mean? Get a close look at it. Make sure it's in its home. This one's a little sketchy. And if you're handling it, did you see how easy that came out? So if you press down on here, it's going to lift this armature up here. And that could cause this to come out of whack, which then will make it much easier for that spring to go flying. But as it is, I can move this freely. Brilliant design. It should be in so many more reels. It's one of the most reliable on the market, period. It's been around for God knows how long. And the other reason why you want to take out the plate and drop this down is the drag stack. In terms of how drag stacks are put together, this is a more complicated variety due to the fact that it has the clicky drag plate. So this little pawl down here, which is spring loaded, here, oh, so this drag plate sits on top of here like that. The clutch sleeve, like every other baitcaster and star drag, is keyed to this top click plate, right? And that compresses it. But it's allowed to kind of move independently from the rest of the drag stack. It's kind of a cool design. It's been around. You're seeing it more and more in other reels. And if you look here, that's your return pin. Let's see here. I believe that's the return pin for the kick plate. And never let that fall freely if the pinion's still there. Ever. This is going to lift the pinion. And then, yes, okay, good. If we go around, see that pin? That pin's going to hit this leg here, like so. And it just pushed it back. Oh, I caught it in my mouth. How many of y'all have ever caught a fishing reel spring in the teeth? Yes. You can't make this shit up. That's funny. That's going on YouTube. No shit, Sherlock. Alright, so let me get this out of the way here. Get these two yoke springs. And, I don't know. I can't believe I caught that in my teeth. Like, it landed on, like, the tip of my tongue. That was pretty crazy. Alright, so we have... I'm assuming stainless. You know what happens if you assume. I don't know what this is. What is this screw in here? Oh, I see. It's just a guide. It's a... Yeah, I think it kind of leans over a tad just to keep it in place enough. Cool. Simple. And it looks to be made out of stainless. And you know what? Let's go ahead, before we take this out and show you the rest, let's take a look at the drag stack while we're here. Bearing bad to the rescue. Beautiful. You too can pull a whole drag stack out at once by sending an email to bearingbadtool@gmail.com. I don't even know if he wants me bringing it up anymore. He was just completely flooded with requests for this little bearing pulling tool. It's just so useful. And somebody made a comment that it was just the video I put out that mentioned it was a commercial. The dude never had any attention to me even mentioning it. But I'm a real tinkerer. I'm definitely going to show you guys some cool shit when it comes up that actually works really well. Because I ain't never come across a tool like this. It's brilliant. Guys, semi-retired. And he's just doing it as a hobby. Then he gets bombarded with 50 people wanting it at once from all over the world. Bingo. All right. So they put a bearing down there with the weird white grease that Shimano uses. And that's it. You got the same clutch that they've been using forever. You have a Mongo clutch here to engage and disengage, which is overbuilt, which is good. They don't want it to fail. I'm not going to complain with anything at all with that. These kind of loop springs tend to fail. That's why it's likely so large. And no clickety-click on the spool tension adjustment knob, which is okay. Usually the clicks or the click springs they use in these type of adjustments don't last if they're constantly used. And you may actually find yourself using the spool tension adjustment knob quite often, not because you need any cast control, but if you want your jig to drop straight, not flutter on the way down, and not constantly be thumbing, it's kind of effective to adjust this and have it do the thumbing for you. At the same time, one thing I failed to mention is look at the size of the flange of this spool. Something you don't see every day, and something that's greatly appreciated. So if we take, and here's a Omoto Chief Extreme, just as an example of an open conventional star drag. See how little flange space there is? Look at the size of the flange here. So when you're dropping down, you have that flange right here. You can kind of add some braking and not get your hands on the braid, which is just a nice thing. It's not going to kill you if a fish, takes a shot at your jig when you're dropping it down. I've been there 100 times. And one of the last times I went tuna fishing, I had a good sized tuna, I'm assuming. And it was probably 70 inches because I missed it. That yanked it and burned my thumb, but it's not the end of the world. It just keeps you on your toes. And it's nice to see they paid attention to that little detail. So if you're slow pitch jigging with light line, you can get away with it. This thing will hold a ton of like 20 or 30 pound braid. PR not that stuff to a 40 or 50 pound leader, and you're good to go. And I really can't see much else to go over in this reel. It's simplicity, it's refinement, it's precision. It's an all-around beautiful reel. Heavy duty, heavy, thick walled side plates where you want it. I got to tell you, this is one of the sweetest reels I've ever cranked. It really is. And the handle, let's take a look here. So I got to go in here anyway and see what's causing this grit. Little bit of corrosion on these screws here. Not really corrosion. We'll take a look at them separate too. And we're thankful for the Phillips. We're always thankful when we see those in there, not a rivet. Rivets are evil. Yeah, somebody got hit with the raw water wash down. That's for show. This is always the first thing to go on these reels. Always. Very common to see that. Sometimes you'll see this as well. You get that raw water wash down. That just gets all up in there. All up in that business. Yeah. Dual ball bearing. Kind of what you hope for at this price range. All in all, I can't say enough good things about this reel without actually really putting it through its paces. I like the old gold one. Just wasn't powerful enough. I don't know. It's still a good reel. Really good reel, especially for its time. Moved on to some Talicas. Talica's really nice. I really like Talicas. You don't even feel it cranking. Torsas were just... I think the Torsa might be the best big jig reel ever made. I don't know. It's a little wide, though. I think it's the 16s. I think we had 16 narrows. They're still that big with the BF. I think it was the BFS Billfish Special Cam. I think we put on. I don't know why. I think we got one cheap or something like that and just slapped it on there. It's just an adjustment for the lever drag. But I remember we had it spooled with 65 pound. It was sitting. If you look at the boat, this is the boat. This is the motors down here, right down here. We had it set bookending the spread in a rod holder up in the bow, and a tuna. And again, it was I think it was on an Islander Junior, out positioned here in the spread, right? Kind of tight. It was about 30 yards off the outside rigger. And it hit it at a 45, and it never tripped the clip. I'll never forget it. And I had a Stella on a popping rod up in the rocket launchers, and the line going across the spread this way had the line on the handled gap on the Stella like this. It was spinning so fast, it sounded literally like a fire. You remember those little green little cylinder toys that were whistles that had the thing went... It sounded like that. It was the craziest thing ever. It cut right in. Actually, I saved it as a souvenir. Hold on. Bummer. It ain't where I thought it was. I'll find it one of these days. I don't want to lose it. That's got some sentimental value. And that was a 220-pound big eye, I think it was. That was one of our earlier big eye. But yeah, how's that for a sidetrack? Talking about spinning reels in an Ocea Jigger video. But I just recently sold that Stella too, and it was in damn good condition. Damn good condition. It was one of those reels that the only reason why I sold it is because of what I do here. I have such a consistent and constant influx of new reels that, man, I had to get rid of it. And I got rid of it knowing the newest Stella had some components that I wasn't the biggest fan of. That AR clutch, the new design, I like the original. It was a more expensive design. It was machined into the reel itself versus the Saragossa, which is just a plastic cap that sits on top and holds the clutch. It's probably just as reliable, but for the price tag, I want the more expensive, fancy stuff. It reminds me more of a twin power design, which I got a twin power 14,000 SW ready to go. So until next time, guys, for those of you that made it this far, I thank each and every one of you for joining me as often as you do. Without you and the time you spend here, I wouldn't have a platform. And until next time, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a sweet reel. Buy it. Without question. If you're a Tog guy, this will get the guys frothing who are next to you on the boats. And yeah, anyway, I'll see you soon.